Today I have a special guest. You want to give yourself an introduction?
Sure. My name is Sam, but I go by Retro Giraffe on YouTube. I have a small YouTube channel. It mostly just covers Pokemon card unboxings. I would say I kind of cover everything Pokemon, but majority of it is focused on Pokemon cards. I do like Pokemon Go live streams, just very small. It's kind of like a side hobby, like a side hustle, like a passion project kind of thing. So hopefully it grows, but then as of now, just doing for fun, and I've been enjoying it ever since. But yeah, thanks for having me on, Vince.
Cool, perfect. And I'm going to link his channel and also his Instagram handle in the description below. So please go give him a follow. And the cool thing is,
Thank
I
you.
know that you have the giveaway, right? With
Yeah.
the one of the boxes, the Champions
Hmm.
Path box, right? So yeah,
Yes,
I'll
sir.
link that video down below as well. So if you want a chance to win a Champions Path Elite Trainer box, all you have to do is watch the video, like, and subscribe to him, and then drop a comment on his video. So it's funny
That's
because
right.
we've been following each other for a long time. I think since like when I first
Yeah,
started the journey, I was like
for sure.
more than 6 months ago, and then you
Hmm.
were like the only Pokemon channel that I followed really. And
Yeah.
then once I got into Pokemon, like Pokemon trading card game, and then like started buying them, I've been hitting you up like crazy. I'm like, hey, what's
Yeah.
this? What's this? Should I buy this? Is this good? Is this bad? So you've
Yeah.
been like kind of my go-to source. Plus, I have like two other friends that are
Nice,
into the space
nice.
as well. But I always like
Okay.
refer to you or refer to them. It's like, okay, is this a good buy? Is this not a good buy? Because sometimes when you go to Target or like whatever stores, you're like, there's kind of a lot of stuff, but what's good and
Yeah.
what's bad, right? So, and in
For
today's
sure.
video, that's what we're going to get into is just me asking Sam questions of, what's good, what's bad, how do you get into this space? Because for me, I've only been into, this whole Pokemon space. I mean, I was into it when I was a lot younger, right? So like
Yeah.
15 years ago, or probably
Yeah.
more than
All
that,
of us
20
have.
years ago, probably 20 years ago. So
Yeah.
I think I was in third grade, and now
Hmm.
I'm 29, so 16 years ago or whatever that math is. And so I
Yeah.
wanted to ask you a bunch of questions because I don't know, right? Because I'm like getting
Hmm.
into this space. So I know a lot of people are getting into the card trading space with football, basketball, baseball, but also Pokemon too. It's been
Blowing
blowing
up.
up. Yeah, it's been blowing up.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's crazy because I've been catching up on like I watch Pokérand, and then
Hmm.
also just like all the big ones, and they've been doing unboxing videos, and I've like found myself jumping out of my seat when they pull a charge. I'm like, oh my
it's
god!
it's insane,
Yeah,
dude. It's insane.
it's crazy.
Those
So like,
live streams, those live unboxings. It's crazy sometimes.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So it's wild. So cool. So let's get into it. So would you be able to give a little background of just how long you've been into Pokemon and when you started the trading cards and then also the games as well?
Sure. Well, just to preface, I don't want to call myself an expert. I think just, I guess casual between me and Vince. I kind of been in the space longer than he has. Just that's just, I guess, a pure fact. So hopefully, my knowledge within this hobby can, help Vince out. But then, by no means am I an expert. So don't take my whatever I say, as truth. Like take it with a grain of salt. It applies differently to everyone. But I guess same. I guess story with you. Like I think every kid in the '90s, if you're born in the '90s, maybe like early 2000s, you kind of had some upbringing with Pokemon, whether it be like Pokemon cards, playing the Pokemon games on like the Game Boy, DS, whatever it may be. So I think all of us started there, and then you go through like a little like I'm too cool for Pokemon, like middle school, high school phase, puberty, or whatever. You think about like girls and like other things. And then I think once I hit college, that's when like the nostalgia bug hit, and then I actually bought some packs, and this was like 2011, so it's quite a while. It was like before the hype of Pokemon like blew up. So I bought a few packs, and then I wish I stuck with it, but as you can see, I bought like shoes, and I got into shoes. And then thinking back on it, I'm like, man, if I stuck with Pokemon, like the collection would be this much bigger. But anyways, and then fast forward to 2016, that was when Pokemon did the 20th anniversary, and that's when they released Evolution. So if you guys saw Vince's video of where you opened up the ETB, right?
Yeah, this
There it
box right
is.
here.
Yep, that one. So that's like a huge nod to the base set, the original 1999 set that was released in the States. And yeah, so I think that's what kind of got me back into Pokemon like fully. And then you guys can like look at my cringe videos back from like 2016. It was like poorly edited, like the white balance was terrible, like the audio was discussed. But then yeah, so that's when I started, and then it was very on and off. And then I think I really got into it like this year. I think over the past few years I have been kind of like gaining knowledge, but then I think this year I took it very seriously, quote unquote.
Gotcha.
But yeah, I mean, so I've been in the hobby, I guess, I don't know, like 3 years ish. So hopefully around there, something like that.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
And would you consider yourself more of like a collector, an investor, a flipper? Because I know there are, now that I'm getting into this space, I know some collectors are like, yo, like these people that are flipping aren't like doing our hobby, they're doing it a disservice, right? So I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm not trying to, I want to collect,
Yeah.
but I also don't want to spend endless amounts of money because I feel like that can happen. So for me, it's
For
more
sure.
like I want to collect and then I want to flip. And then it's like basically whatever inventory that I buy, I want to flip
Yeah.
half of it, open half, but I am hoping to recoup my cost so that I
Yeah.
can keep, collecting and flipping and this whole thing, like for me,
For sure.
I'm okay with putting, $500 to $1,000 into this hobby, but if you never sell or never flip, it's going to go, it's never
Yeah.
ending, right? So
Yeah.
where would you consider yourself, and what are your thoughts on, like investors versus collectors versus flippers?
Hmm. So I would definitely consider myself a more of a collector. For me, it's just as much as I see like the money aspect of it. Like I pulled the Rainbow Rare Charizard VMAX from Champions Path.
Nice.
In the time of that recording, like it was selling for like 500, and like it did retrace a little bit back to like 300. And obviously, like at the time, I could have sold it easily and then made that quick butt. But then for me, it's just like just having the card, just having the card itself. I think that's what outweighed the cost of like selling it. I think for me, that's kind of why I kind of fall into like the collector category. I think just growing up having a binder collection, I just love having a binder like a complete set of like base set, jungle and all that. So that's something that I think I'm more of a collector. In terms of like the investors and flippers, I know those two words are somewhat synonymous, but also they're like complete opposites. So obviously you buy product to like eventually make money off of. Investors is like the long game. So I think for me, I guess being a collector, you become a natural investor in some way just because you hold on to stuff because like the sentimental value or like whatever you value it as where a flipper is more like the short term game. Like there'll be people like on Facebook groups, they like buy, I don't know if you were familiar with the Jirachi GX boxes
Yeah.
that released at Walmart. They're like $20, 10 packs. They're all like Sun and Moon era, like I think they specifically made that for like low income families or just like more accessible for kids because like it's $20, 10 packs. That's a crazy deal.
Yeah.
But then there's videos on like TikTok where like these like kids, college kids, where they're like buying like the whole pallet and then just like buying it. It's like a grand for like the grand total and stuff. I'm just like, what are you guys doing? Like, it's not sustainable. So I think with flippers, it's like a lot of them are in for the short term and then like they're out. But then I guess the only plus side that I really see with flippers is like kind of similar with like shoe game is like yeah, there's a bunch of resellers that like buy shoes like a bunch of it and then they resell it for like twice, three times a profit. I think the only plus side of having flippers is that if like it's sold out from like distribution or like it's like a few years down the line where like it's completely out of print, they still have it available. So that kind of is like the plus side of like even though it's not out, even though Pokemon's not like printing it now, like there's gonna be someone or like multiple people on eBay that have it available. Obviously, you have to pay a little premium to get it, but then I think that's the only plus side of having Flipper or being a Flipper or having them in the whole like Pokemon community or whatever. But yeah,
Gotcha.
hopefully that all made sense.
Yeah, because it's like third party, so someone will have it because once they stop reprinting certain cards, right? Then
Yeah.
at least someone will
Mm-hmm.
have it, and then you can buy it then. And this is actually a good point, and something that I asked you, and then something that my friend brought up is like when you go Pokemon hunting or even card trading, NFL basketball, like don't grab it all. Like
Yeah,
you can
for
grab a
sure.
lot of it, but leave some for the people who are actually collectors, right? So like for me. Now I'm conscious of because that's something that I didn't know, right? Because my
Mm-hmm.
first time that I went, there were, the three evolutions, ETBs plus six hidden fates, and I ended up grabbing all those. There were other stuff, but now knowing what I know now, I probably would have left like two of the hidden fates, right? Because then other people are coming for and hunting as well, and then you kind of want to leave some. So that's just, a if you want to be a good human being and you don't want to be selfish, leave some for other
Yeah,
people, right? So that's a good
for
general
sure,
rule
for
of
sure.
thumb. And
Yeah,
and that gets into my next question is, getting into this, Pokemon trading space with the trading card game.
yeah.
Where do you buy and how do you know what to buy? Because
Mm,
sometimes, when you go to Walmart, you're like, oh, that's like Tin's good, Eevee, Pikachu, but
yeah,
so the confusing thing for me is when I go to a Target or a Walmart, now I kind of know what to get. Like, for example, like this Hidden Fates, right? It's easy because it says Hidden Fates right here. It's like, okay,
yeah.
that's hot. It's Hidden Fates. But
Mm,
when there are some tins, they don't have any words on it. So you're like,
yeah,
how do I know that the sun and moon? It's a burning shadows. It's a hidden fates. Like, how are you supposed
yeah.
to know? Because it's a lot, right? So like,
It's
so
yeah.
where do you? So the question is, where do you buy, and how do you know what to buy?
Okay. So in terms of, I guess we're talking about modern products. I'm assuming,
Yeah,
or
modern
is it just
products.
like
Yeah,
okay? So I
stuff
guess
that
for
you
modern
can use, stuff that
products,
you can find in like your Target, Walmart, or
right,
retailers, right?
right. So I mean, definitely, like you said, like Target and Walmart, like the big box stores, they definitely carry like all Pokemon products. Definitely also check GameStop. I know that right now they had or I think it was like this past weekend, they had pre-orders in store, and then I think it was yesterday when they dropped pre-orders online. But those sold out in who knows, like minutes, seconds, I don't know, because there's so many bots around. But the good thing about GameStop is like, I guess if you want to pre-order something that's coming out, they have a cool system where you can put $5 down to secure a product, and then once the release date comes, you can either pay up to that release date or you can just pay all of it on that day. But GameStop's definitely good. What else? I know that there's some online stores like Troll and Toad. There's DA Card World, Collector's Cash. So if you just type up like Pokemon cards, I don't know, like type in like I don't know, like Pokemon Hidden Fates, Elite Trainer box. I'm sure like there'll be like eBay listings and stuff like that. But then I would try like Troll and Toad and stuff like that. Those kind of like, I guess within the Pokemon community, it's well known. But I guess for someone that's kind of new, like those are some big online stores that carry Pokemon stuff. So yeah,
And
that's where I'll usually
on
buy from.
for those online stores, are they usually sold at a premium? Because I know with Walmart and Target, it's like a set price, right? So I know
Right.
that I've been like going online, just googling it, but and then
Yeah.
it's also at like my local card because you can go to your local card shop. So
Right.
luckily, I have two local card shops, but I call them. And obviously, you're buying it at a premium. It's not going to be
Yeah.
at retail because usually, if you're at Target or Walmart, it's going to be that set price, and
Yep.
they can't bump it up, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, so definitely like the big box stores like Walmart and Target, they like the amount they buy it for, and then the amount the amount that they buy for it, and then the price that they sell it at is like crazy. So they get crazy profits, and like majority of like Pokemon, they focus on the big box stores. So like they want to push the products to Walmart and Target, and then the online stores they kind of are based on distributors. So it kind of based on how much they get. And also, if like the hype of the set is like pretty high, then yes, they will put it at a premium. Where Walmart and Target and like GameStop would just put it at the MSRP. So I guess that's the pros and cons. It's like Walmart, Targets, they'll definitely have it, but then the chances are it's going to be sold out because there's going to be people waiting, or like people are going to come and like just like take all of it. Where online stores, it's kind of like the going back to like Flipper. What I was saying about flippers, but they're not really flippers. It's just they're selling it at a premium. It's just like it's more available because some people won't be willing to pay that premium.
Yeah,
But yeah, so
that makes sense. And a couple caveats. So funny thing, I went to a GameStop because people I had two of my friends that were like, "Hey, you should go pre-order the Shining Fates," and I was like, "All right,
yeah,
let me go to GameStops, right?" So I go to the
yeah.
first GameStop, they're going out of business. I go to the
Oh
second GameStop,
gosh,
they go to the second GameStop, they're out of business, right? So now I have to
wow.
check the third GameStop, but I was hoping, so it's just tough times because everything's going online now. So that's just one thing to like. That's what I was thinking. I was like, the first one I was like, okay, it make one, but then two, I was like, okay, That's kind
That's
of weird.
crazy.
And yeah, and then as you mentioned, with Target and Walmart, they usually restock on certain days, right? So they'll
They do.
usually
Yep.
restock like once. For me, I've seen it. I think I was lucky the first time that I went to Walmart because I think they just restocked, and I was like, oh, there's so much inventory. And this was when I
Yeah.
first got into it. I was like, oh, this is gonna be super easy. I'm gonna get all these boxes all the time, and blah blah blah
You're on
blah.
a good day. Yeah.
Yeah, and then I just happened to go on a good day because I went to the same Walmart and
Mhm.
Target uh, for about 2 weeks straight, and then they
Yeah.
restocked once since then. So
Really?
I
Okay.
think what they do is because I asked them, oh, when do you get shipments? And then they say we get shipments
Yeah.
twice a week. We get Mondays and then Thursdays. But then not every
Okay.
shipment has Pokemon cards, right? So it's not
Yeah.
like it's they're gonna have it. And I know with Target, I'm not sure if it's like how they do their restocking as well, but I know with like the
Mhm.
baseball cards and the basketball cards and the football cards,
Yeah.
they have like a card stalker, right? Like they have a
Yeah.
like a third party company stock their cards. So I'm not sure if that's the same for Pokemon, but even the Target was really dry. Oh, and then one other place that you can find cards is Walgreens, right? So
Walgreens. Yeah.
Walgreens will have it, but they tend to be either just like single boosters or like they're not going to have like ETBs. They're not going to have like these bigger boxes, but they could have something like they have like what the mystery box, right?
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
mystery
Yeah.
box like $20, $25, and with the mystery box you can get in like a super old school like the fossil pack or like one of the packs from like 20 years ago that's worth like
Yeah.
$200. So you can resell that pack for $200. So I always
Yeah.
go there to check, but they have like a couple of different things. So if you are on the hunt for Pokemon cards or baseball cards or sports cards in general, Target, Walmart, Walgreens will have it in terms of your common stores, and then
Yeah.
obviously everything online, and then GameStop and Barnes and Nobles too. I've heard
Oh, Barnes and Nobles.
Barnes and
Yep.
Nobles.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I
They
haven't
do have
checked
a
my
little
Barnes and
small
Nobles
section.
yet,
Yeah.
but yeah, so
Yeah.
cool. And
Yep.
then how do you, another question for you is how do you do your research into like if you were me, right? So
Mhm.
like you're kind of into the space, you're into the space already, and then but for me, I'm so new, I don't know what to buy, I don't know what to invest in, or I don't know what to collect, right? What's good, what's bad. So what are some resources that are your favorite resources of like okay.
Mhm.
That you would point me in the right direction. What can I look up or what videos, watch YouTube videos, websites? What does that look like?
So I guess the question in terms of like what do I buy, it kind of depends per person because for me, I guess when I got back into it, because of like the whole evolutions and it was a huge nod back to base set, it kind of triggered that nostalgia bug where like I wanted to go back and complete like my older sets I couldn't before. So I think when I got back into it, I just really want to like complete like base set, jungle, fossil, gym heroes, and all that. And I guess it kind of depends because do you have any affinity towards those those like sets when you were younger, or for you is it more just like what's current, what's popping off right now, like what's your mindset on? Yeah, because I feel like I should ask you like what do you want to collect?
Gotcha. So like for me, when I got into it, I only played up till the crystal version. So the
Okay.
first 250 Pokemon, I'm pretty familiar
Hmm.
with, or even a little bit
Nice.
after that. Like maybe the,
Yeah.
the third gen, a little bit. But anything after that, it's like I don't know, right? But
Hmm.
when I was, as I've been collecting these cards and ripping packs, at first it was, oh, I kind of, it's for the nostalgia. And I really liked opening the evolutions because
Yeah.
obviously it's like a reprint of the original ones, right? But then now they're just like newer cards.
Yeah.
And I found myself liking that, but also at the same time, when I'm pulling, those like ultra rares or those like full arts, or I'm like, whoa, this is
Yeah.
like, and then you kind of get excited, right?
So
Because
colorful. Yeah.
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 And then now that you're like, I'm pulling cards, like, but the thing is, I don't know how to react to whether if this is a good card or not, right? Because the other day,
True.
I was ripping packs and I pulled like a Dreadnought V, I think, and
Hmm. Yeah.
it was from a Walgreens pack, and it was a 4 pack, and I pulled it, and I was like, oh, this is cool, but I also don't know, like, because if you pull a Charizard, right, you're like, oh, this is amazing, right? So I'm like, okay, I
Yeah.
still don't know how to react to this. Number one, and then number two. I haven't pulled like a secret rare, I think, called like a rainbow Charizard, rainbow anything. So but
Yeah.
now that I watch more videos of people
Mhm.
pulling ripping packs, I'm like, okay, now you kind of know what's up, so it's a little bit, you just need to be in the space watching the videos, watching people rip packs, and then see how
For
they
sure.
react, and then you can
Yeah.
see that, right? But for me, I think when I first started, it was more for that nostalgic. Oh, like, oh, I recognize these cards. These are cool. But then now that I'm
Mhm.
getting into it, it's like, oh, I really want the good cards, right? So I really
Yeah.
want the
Yeah.
full arts, and I really want the megas, and this and that. But like for me,
Yeah.
the thing is, I don't know how to react to like when I
Yeah.
pull a
Yeah.
card, because I think the Evolutions ETB that I pulled like 2 weeks ago, I pulled a Mega Venusaur, and I was like, oh, this is cool, but
Yeah.
or I pulled a Needle King Break. I pulled that Needle King Break, and then I was like, "Oh, this is
Uh-huh.
awesome!" And then I looked online; it was like $1, and I was like, "All right, I guess it's
Yeah.
not that big of a deal if it's
Yeah.
$1, right?" But if it, because some of these cards are like $20, and you're like, "Oh, that's a pretty good card," because on average a pack is what, $3 or $4. So if you pull a $20 card, that's pretty
Roughly. Yeah.
good, right?
Mhm.
So
Yeah. So I guess yeah, so I guess what were the other points to your question? Like what's my resource? What do I use to
yeah, like
kind of
what,
like
like
look up
if,
cards?
like for me, it's like, how do I know, like where would you do research of, okay, what to buy, like how to
Mhm.
buy, because sometimes you're like, yeah, just like do you have any resources? Because I know, like for me, I always go on like TCG Player, right? So TCG
Oh
Player,
yeah.
you download the app, and then you can just scan. If you have old Pokemon
Yep.
cards, you can just scan, and then
Yep.
it's like, boom, you know?
That- Yeah, that's a really good resource, TCG Player. I would definitely also recommend. I guess if
Yeah,
you guys are interested in like the older sets, or just wanting to know like the history of like certain cards, or just like if there's a card they've never seen before, you can probably look it up on this website. It's called Bulbapedia.
yeah,
It's basically
Bulbapedia.
Wikipedia for Pokemon. So that's like a huge resource if you guys just want to know like the history of certain cards, or like how certain cards were released.
Yeah.
In terms of like where to buy, or like how to know when things are coming out, I use a website called PokeBeach.
Okay, Pokebeat.
PokeBeach.
Okay.
And they kind of are pretty up to date with like like things that are coming out. So I know a lot of people use that resource to like they're like one of the first I guess online news outlets, like spread news or share news about like the Hidden Fates set or Shining Fates, the new set that's coming out,
Yeah.
like showing you like pictures or like teasers of it. So I think I've followed that pretty frequently. Like I check out at least like once a day kind of thing, just see like if there's a new article out, because it's mostly catered towards like competitive players, like like people that actually play the card game. But then it also kind of caters to the collectors as well, because it also shows like Japanese sets that are coming out, English sets that are coming out. So I think that's a good resource, and they kind of break down like like for the Shining Fate sets, these are the products that are releasing, these are the MSRP prices for it. So yeah, I think those two are pretty good resources in terms of like what's I guess or what's coming up. And then in terms of what to buy, I think that kind of depends on what you want.
Yeah.
But obviously, like like you said, like the tins, stuff like that, it just says like 4 booster packs, a promo, and like a code card on like the back. So I think for stuff like that, I would just YouTube. That's what I do. Like if there's a tin that I see that's kind of interesting, I'd be like, oh, like let's see what packs are actually in it. So I would look up that YouTube video and then be like, oh, so there's like a Sun and Moon, there's a Sword and Shield, and there's like Rebel Clash.
Yeah.
Like, oh, I don't want that, so I won't buy that. So I think YouTube's a great resource as well. There's so many. I mean, with Pokemon exploding right now, like everyone's covering Pokemon content, so it's kind of hard to miss in terms of like what's in certain products and
Yeah.
stuff like that. But yeah.
I think a video that helped me, and they're a little bit of a smaller channel. I think they're under 10,000. The Flex Gods. They did
Oh yeah.
like a tier video, right? So the tier video
Yeah.
was like, okay, S tier, A tier, B tier, whatever, and then I was like, okay, now
Yeah.
I kind of know what to buy,
Right.
because that's like, if like they're recommending it, and it's like, it's probably a good buy. So, and then also how I tend to buy as well, coming from like the mindset of like, I want to collect, but I also want to maybe flip some product to keep, as I said before, keep the hobby going. What I'll do is
Yeah.
I'll use eBay, go on the eBay app, and then
Yep.
scan the product, and then whatever it's selling at the stores for, if it's like
Mhm.
150%, then it's probably a good buy. So for
Yep.
me, I think I can either rip, or I can hold on to it and sell it. So like the other day, I bought this Sword and Shield box, right? And it
Yep.
was like $100. Like, oh dang, it's $100 at Target,
Yeah.
but then it's selling on eBay for 140, 150. So like even like for this box, I wouldn't make that much money, but also like for me, as I told like we mentioned this like outside of this video was I want to since I want to collect I want to have like one box of everything, so I think I'm going
Oh
to
yeah, for
eventually
sure.
open one box of everything. um,
Yeah.
so that was cool. And then, so you saw me reach over earlier like this. I'm not sure if you saw in the video, but my
Yeah.
girlfriend handed me something, and it's a Christmas card. And guess what?
Okay.
My friend gave
Oh,
me yeah
nice.
gave me this Moltres. So
Nice.
so cool. So she handed it to me because she was hearing that we were talking about Pokemon, and then
Oh, cool,
they
cool.
also gave me this decal.
Yo.
Yeah, so I gotta put this
Nice.
on something. So it's getting yeah, that's how you know it's getting serious when your friends send you Pokemon cards and
Yeah, dude.
decals. So thank you
Put it
to
on your
Ricky and Sheila.
MacBook.
So huh? Yeah, I put it on my
Put it on your
MacBook.
MacBook,
Yeah,
the
yeah, I'm gonna put it on
Charizard.
my
Yeah.
MacBook. Yeah, then everyone's gonna know. So
Yeah, for sure.
oh man,
Dang, that's a
sweet.
pretty sick Moltres, though. The
Yeah,
artwork, I'm a fan of that artwork.
yeah. What set is this from? Do you know? Does it
It
say?
looks like Fates Collide, based on the little symbol on the bottom right corner.
Okay.
Yeah, so Fates Collide was based off like Alakazam, so the Mega Alakazam set, so it's like a triangle,
Yep.
like upside down triangle. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
so that's from Fates Collide. Yep.
Cool. And then
It's so bad that I know this just based
yeah,
off the
it's a
set.
good
Like I
thing. I
gotta
mean,
I
you've
gotta
been
relax.
in the space, So like, I only know like the older cards from 20 years ago, and
Yeah.
then the recent ones. So I think Hidden Fates, Vivid Voltage, Shining Fates that are coming out, and then
Yep.
Darkness Ablaze that I've been seeing, and then also whatever they have at Walmart or Target. But anything like in the
Yeah.
middle, like I have no idea, right? So
It's all good. Yeah.
yeah. So cool. And then just a couple newbie tips when, just because I've had questions on them.
Mm,
Getting into the space, if you're ripping packs especially and you're keeping these
yeah.
cards, how do you personally like number one, how do you use how do you organize your cards? Do you keep them in a binder? Do you keep them in sleeves? What types of sleeves? Because I know that I was watching the video that there's like 9 types of sleeves, and there's like so which one?
Yeah.
There's like penny sleeves. There's the ones that comes with the in the ETBs.
Yep.
So how do you organize your cards, and then how do you, just make sure that they're safe, right? So do you have it in a binder? What does that look like?
Right. Okay. So thankfully, like my little side table right here has like roughly all my materials that I use, or like yeah. But I guess starting off, first thing is penny sleeves. So Ultra Pro penny sleeves. These
Yeah.
are like, I mean, they're penny sleeves, so they should cost $1, but because of eBay and people wanting to make money, these go for like I don't know $2-3. You can probably find these at your local card store, but yeah. So penny sleeves are a must. They're super cheap. They keep your cards very well. I guess I bought a tin at Target and I got a few cards, but this is a Ho-Oh promo, so just put it in the
Cool.
sleeve. It's a base. It's like the base protection that you can give to a card. I guess stepping up from that, you have these are called deck protectors. So basically, like people that play competitive, they shuffle the cards a lot, so it's a little bit more rigid than a penny sleeve. So I personally use Dragon Shield. I don't know how well it's going to focus, but yeah,
Yeah, there you
I
go.
feel like a makeup artist. Like yeah,
Yeah.
Dragon
Yeah,
Shield.
yeah.
But yeah, so Dragon Shield. I know Ultra Pro as well. They make sleeves. Ultra Pro is a pretty well-known company, but I personally like Dragon Shield because it's a lot more sturdier. I feel like um, Ultra Pro was notoriously known to like break, like the sleeves used to like just tear off. And yeah, so these are the sleeves. I mean, it's just plain white sleeves. And then on top of that, I guess going to the next level is top loaders slash let's see, top loaders or card savers. So this is a card saver. Let me actually give me 1 sec.
Yeah,
Sorry.
you're good.
Okay. So a top loader is this. It's like hard plastic. Sorry, let me turn this monitor off so there's no glare. But there's plastic. It's a hard plastic, and some people what they do is put a penny sleeve and then put the penny sleeve in the hard plastic, so it is more rigid. Other people like doing, especially if you do PSA, if you're gonna submit to PSA, People like putting cards into card savers. So basically, it's like semi-rigid, and this is mostly like it is flexible, more flexible than a top loader. But yeah,
Yeah.
so this is, I guess, single cards. These are the best ways to do it. In terms
And
of
and
binders,
with that, actually, that I just saw with that card that you just had, I know that there's the
yeah,
sticky note pull thing, right? So would you be able to go into why you put that blue pull thing?
right. So these card savers are a little bit more difficult. I guess they kind of are flush, where top loaders have like a little slit on the top where it's like easier to put cards in.
Yeah.
But I guess it's mostly for graders, because I guess when they take the cards out, instead of reaching down into the sleeve and like possibly damaging your cards, they just pull the tab and then the card should come out
Gotcha.
like
It's
that.
just
So
easier to
pretty
come out.
easy. So
Yeah.
yeah, so it just makes it easier for the grader at PSA, Beckett, or CGC, whoever's grading the cards. It just makes it easier for them. I think a guy named Gemmin Pokemon, he was the
Mm.
one that kind of like coined this whole like concept and this game popularity. So,
Yeah.
and plus he's like a big time grader. So
Yeah, and
that's why.
the important thing I think when I was watching the video on how to put those on is make sure when you put the sticky thing to put it only onto the sleeve and not the card itself. You don't want to put on the card itself.
Yes,
So make sure because the
please.
idea is that it's protecting the card. So if you put it on the card itself, or if you tape over the top of the sleeve, that could damage the card possibly. So you want to exactly just like that. So you don't want any of
Just like that.
the glue to be on the card. You just want it to be on the plastic so that it's easier. So when you pull it out for the grader. So
Yep. So I guess for single cards, this is what you can do. In terms of, I guess, if you are interested in like binders and like completing sets, I think Ultra Pro definitely makes some pretty good binders. Ultra Pro, they make like the portfolios, just 9 pages. And the good things about these pages are they're side loading, which means that dust doesn't really get in. So if you have a top loader, or if you have a penny sleeve, dust can get in from the top. But if you load it in from the side, it kind of seals it off.
yeah,
So I think the Ultra Pro portfolios, anything that's side loading pages, are pretty good. So these portfolios go for like $20. Or I guess if you want to, some card stores have these, but you can get like these like shoe boxes where it's like you can just store your bulk here. So like obviously you want to keep your rare cards with you, but then like commons, uncommons, energies you can just throw in here. And there's different sizes. This is like a 300 card box. There's like a skinnier one. There's like 5 rows. There's plenty of sizes. So if you guys have local card stores, definitely check there. But I know that like the online retailers like Collector's Cash, Troll and Toad, DA Card World, they all have that stuff. So hopefully I didn't miss anything, but that's just roughly like either penny sleeves,
yeah,
if it's for single cards, or binder pages. You guys can also buy binder pages. I think some WalMarts actually sell the Ultra Pro Silver. It's like 9 pages. It's like comes in like a skinny box. It's like 100 pages, so it goes for $20. So I
yeah.
guess it kind of depends on like what you're into. If you like collecting sets, go for the pages. Single cards, go for like penny sleeves and the deck protectors and stuff like that. But yeah,
Yeah, so because I know that if you plan on picking up this hobby, if you're especially if you're ripping packs, you're gonna have a lot
yeah,
of cards because
you're
the
gonna have a
packs are
lot of bulk.
never endless. You can never rip too many packs. That's a fact.
Yeah,
And
that is a fact.
then I know that the box that you just had, that white box, I know what my friend was telling me was, like with your common card, your common and uncommon cards, you can put them into like one of those like a bigger boxes that's sort of like 3,000 or something like that. And then
Yep.
usually because those cards aren't worth anything like singly, you
Mm,
can sell it to like a company and then they'll trade like 3,000 cards for one booster box, and a booster box is 36 packs, right? So it's like
yep.
you can do that trade too. So it's to make sure that because what are you going to do with all the common cards, right? You're just going to have them lay
Right.
around. But a lot of times that's a good resource to send that in, or maybe even the local card shops take them. I have no idea, but I know
Yeah.
that you can make sure you can don't just throw them away, right? Because you're like, because sometimes. I think when I was a kid, when I was opening up packs, I was like, "Oh, I just want the rare runs, right?" And I
Yeah.
just want the
And
rare
you
ones.
just forget about
That's
the other
it.
ones.
Uh, yeah, cool, perfect. Well,
Yeah.
I appreciate you taking time. Any other tips or tricks that you have for people who are getting into this space?
Um, I guess the biggest thing for me, the biggest tip that I'll have for anyone is buy what you like. Please just buy what you like. Don't try not to be so I guess distracted by the hype. Like obviously Charizard is a very popular Pokemon. Shiny Charizard V, Charizard V Max, those are pretty hype cards. They're like expensive too from the get. Like you pull it from a pack, it's like 300. But I mean, outside of that, hopefully you guys don't get clouded with like the all the hype. Just buy what you like. Um, just be wise with your money. Like yeah, Pokemon's hot right now, but don't like go maxing out your credit card. Don't spend like all your money blowing it on Pokemon cards. Just be wise with it. But yeah, I think the number one tip is just buy what you like. Just and then do research. Definitely do some research. There's a lot of fakes floating around, especially for the older stuff, like the older, the vintage sets, like Watsy era. So just do research. Use online resources. There's YouTube. There's Bulbapedia. Yeah. But number one tip is buy what you like. I think that's the biggest tip I have.
Yeah, and I think, as you get into the space, it might obviously with anything that you learn, at first it's going to be a lot of learning. But even for me, I've
Yeah.
only been here for, 2 to 3 weeks, but I'm watching more and more just videos on Pokemon. And especially I get addicted to the like unboxing videos, and it's kind of like nothing,
Yeah.
they're just ripping packs, but there's just something addicting about them. And
It's
the
like the
more,
experience.
yeah, it's like you're there with them, right? So
Right.
I would say watching those videos, you're gonna get a really good feel for what like what packs that you really want to buy or what you want to collect. Because I know before I got in, I was like, oh, Champions Path, like I should buy all of that. But you might not want to buy that because the pulls are harder, right? They tend not to have as many good pulls as, let's say, a Hidden Fates. Because with Hidden Fates, there's a lot of like cards that you can pull that are like the shiny cards, right? So I like to call it the shiny cards. The shinier, the better. So like for me, I don't know how to look
true.
at these cards.
That's
I'm like, the shinier, the better, right? So the more
Yeah.
artwork it has, the better.
Yeah.
So I know I just watched a video the other day. Forgot what it was, but he opened 100 packs of Champions Path, and he got one. He got one like secret rare, but I think he got no Charizards or anything like that. So I know that there's some packs are like heavily loaded with more cards, just like quote unquote better cards that you can pull. So it's a better experience, I think.
For sure. Yeah.
But at the same time, again, as you said, like do your research. But the more that you are ingrained into the space, then the more that you're gonna learn, right? So like for me, I really try to utilize my resources. I reach out to you. I reach out to my couple of friends that are really into the space, and I go, hey, what's this? Is this good? Is this bad?
Yeah.
And then they're just like, just check eBay, when you're at the store, and then after a while you just learn, right?
Yeah.
And then it's this whole fun game of going around town trying to find these cards, and you're like,
hunting, yeah.
And then it's like you're driving around, and you're like, are they gonna have it? Are they not? They told me they were gonna restock on Thursdays. They get a shipment on Thursday, right? And then you go, and then there's nothing. But then you go, and then that day that you get it, you're like, oh, this is awesome. Like it feels like it's like a treasure hunt, So
yeah, for sure.
Cool. Perfect. Well, I appreciate you taking the time, Sam. Again, retro _ giraffe, I believe it is. I'm going to put a screenshot of his channel right here. I'm also going to put it in the description below. So please go give him a follow. Tell him that you came from my channel. And other than that, I appreciate you all taking the time. If you want to catch another one of my videos, I'm going to put it up here somewhere, and then also a subscribe button below. Other than that, see you all tomorrow. Peace.